philosophizing black sheep, unwelcome, pushed to the side motherfuckers like me.
Fuck what they say. Tang gang, Atheist Your Way. Yeah. Fuck what they say. Tang gang, Atheist Your Way. Let's get down to business. These bitches got glitches. And you thought you'd dismiss us? Nah. Now I'm laughing in stitches. See, the problem be, it'll be a tragic travesty to come after me. So just know this is how we get down. Respect that shit like a pronoun, bitch. Yeah. Fuck what they say. Tang gang, Atheist Your Way. Yeah. And fuck what they say. Tang gang, Atheist Your Way. Yeah. Fuck what they say. Tang gang, Atheist Your Way. Yeah. Fuck what they say. Tang gang, Atheist Your Way.
What up, what up, what up? Sorry, I'm still getting my shit situated from my DJ setup here. Uno momento. I make myself comfortable. But how was everyone this evening, this morning, whatever the fuck it is where you're at? Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing well. And everything looks and sounds like it's behaving itself. All right, so I have a little video that I can start just reviewing or whatnot. Sorry, just my tape. There we go. To kind of get the party started, but I'll put the StreamYard link here at the top here. Give me uno momento. But yeah, I was thinking about this today. Well, it was after just watching. I didn't participate in side chats or anything, but just listening to a few Christian streams. And it crossed my mind, what if I cross paths with some of these folks at a bar? The Christian and the atheist walk into a bar together. How would they approach the conversation? Is it going to be, we're literally like having beers and shit, and and now mind you, I don't know these people. Is it going to be all of these philosophical conversations about, life or God or sports or whatever, or do they talk like normal people in their day-to-day life? I don't know. But if those things did come up, faith, God, religion, would they, and not just me, but I'm going to say me because I'm doing the stream, but would they dare talk to me the way they talk to people here online? Would they actually talk sideways like that? Because I have a good feeling I'd be knocking some motherfuckers out. Yeah, I don't think it'd be a good look, man. I don't think it'd be a good look. Yeah, I'm with you, Andrew. Pour me doubles, triples, quadruples. Fuck it. I'm the bartender. Hold on, I'm trying to sign into the channel so I can post this and pin it. Here we go. It is posted, it is pinned. There we go. So I'll play this little video until someone wants to join. But this is Mr. I call him Mystic Pritchett from. What's the name of their channel? Not Trinity Broadcasting. That's it's the same thing, essentially, just on YouTube. Trinity Radio, Trinity something. But he's talking to or about Christian YouTubers. So I agree, Andrew. But nowadays there's more, I guess, not real Christians than real Christians, because most of them will go to the bar nowadays. But don't tell. It's a secret. It's a secret. BL Mr. Mystic Pritchett, he had some interesting shit to say. I don't even think he realizes. Poor guy. I don't even think he realizes how quite the picture he painted. But we'll do this. If anybody wants to jump in, we can talk about it. A Christian and an atheist walk into a bar. Then what? Once the conversations ensue and the preceding conversations and involvement, what does that look like, and why, and do we really talk like that in our day-to-day lives? Do we talk? When I say we, they, theists, do they really use that rationale, that logic, that reasoning with anything else? If they go to, even if it's not at a bar, at a restaurant, where the fuck ever, do you really use that poor of reasoning when it comes to business and your marriage or relationship or your kids? Do you use the same nonsense? Maybe you do. I feel sorry for the people around you if you do.
It's a mixed bag of good news and bad for online Christian content creators. We have the story from Baptist News Global, Jeff Brumley writing. Online religion content isn't luring millennials away from in-person church. Well, there's good news for all you pastors who've been uploading your sermons since 2020. You're not taking away from those who are attending church, so that's good information to know. Put that in your back pocket. The story goes, faith leaders needn't worry too much that the growing availability of online religious content and activities will lure millennials away from houses of worship, a recent study suggests. On the contrary, faith content and activities available virtually are in some cases enhancing the in-person religious experience for participating Americans and Canadians ages 18 to 35. Scholar Sarah Wilkins LaFlame said in Digital Religion Among U.S. and Canadian Millennial Adults, a paper published last year in the Review of Religion Research. And for all of you who are in Generation Z watching this now, you'll be happy to know they're classifying you as millennials. Great news for you. Aren't you thrilled? I'm sure you're thrilled to hear that. But actually, millennials would be 26 to 41, but whatever, they're calling that young adults. I, at the ripe old age of 45, am no longer considered a young adult, which that I'm fine with. Quote, we know that more and more people are turning toward digital mediums for spirituality, such as chat groups with pastors, online sermons, and religious content on social media, said Wilkins LaFlame, a sociologist at the University of Waterloo in Ontario. We have found that while digital religion isn't necessarily attracting a lot of new millennials to participate, it is making the experience of those already involved richer. That's a mixed bag. So what it's basically saying is you can produce all the content you want. You're not really moving the needle as far as attracting new millennials to participate in religious faith. Okay, fair enough. But the trend does not represent most millennials, she added. It is still present, though, for a sizable minority of young adult population, and for many of them, digital religion plays an important complementary role to the in-person practicing of their religious faith. So, again, not really moving the needle to reach new people, and most millennials are completely indifferent to content like the content I create for my own channel, per se. But for those who are interested that do attend worship, It's good to know that Trinity Radio and Mike Winger and Adam Coleman and Mr. Phil Fox and Capturing Christianity and Inspiring Flight. It's good to know that we're not taking anything away from church. In fact, later on in the story, it says there are only 5% of young adult respondents who only do monthly or more frequent religious or spiritual digital content consumption without also attending religious services at least once a month or practicing an unchurched spirituality at least once a month, Wilkins LaFlame said.
Mr. Pritchett, you're obviously well, one, like you're talking about these researches and these papers, but you're not you're giving no citations. Like, where do we find these? Where like I've not heard the website or anything. Like, is this coming from a religious organization? Is this biased? Is this a like what pool of people did they conduct this research from? You know, and I mean, obviously, it's going to be geared toward targeted at those that do hold a belief. But who is conducting the research? Because if you look at the Pew Research reports, the way you treat this, because I've already listened to this once or twice, the way you treat this, it's like, no, this is a big deal. But there are people leaving in droves. There are people leaving religion in droves right now. And just real quick, first of all, Baptist Joshua, it's and I'm terrible. My memory sucks. So I think it's the first time I saw your name in the chat. First of all, welcome. Thanks for being here, and we welcome everyone to have conversations. So everybody in the chat, be cool, be fucking cool. And I know you guys already know that, but I did pull up the definition of logic, and the two, as far as dictionary.com. The two definitions: reasoning conducted or assessed according to strict principles of validity, or a system or set of principles underlying the arrangements of elements in a computer or electronic device so as to perform a specific task. So obviously the first one's more in line with what we're talking about. Reasoning conducted or assessed according to strict principles of validity. So I don't see that there's too much wiggle room for just subjectivity, but yeah, I guess I would have to have a better explanation of what you mean by that.
She goes on, another 11% do both monthly or more frequent digital content consumption and religious service attendance. 6% do both monthly or more frequent digital content consumption and unchurched spiritual activities. And another 10% do all three types of activities at least once a month. End quote. As a whole, 25% of millennial respondents in the United States and Canada said they participate in less conventional religious practices at least monthly, with 11% including a digital component. End quote. So, not a whole lot there, but I mean, 10% and 20% of any age group demographic in the United States and Canada is a whole lot of people still actively involved in this. And of course, you see that content creators, some of the larger channels are attracting a lot of eyeballs. It's just not a really large pool of young adults that are interested in any of the type of stuff that we're putting out. But it's good to know that we're not taking away from the religious activity of church services. Like, only 5% of the people that are interested in any of this at all are not active. But that makes sense, because if you think about it, if you're anything like my experience, and granted that's anecdotal, but there are more people that I can engage with online who are interested in theology and biblical studies and apologetics than there are people at my church who are interested in exploring those things more deeply. Now, of course, all Christians are responsible for evangelism. They should all be theologically informed with the essential doctrines of the faith. They should all be aware of apologetics and have at least a basic understanding of how to defend their faith.
And Baptist Joshua, I want to say this is actually the point in the stream, and so everybody in the chat, just know that this is like I appreciate this. This is why I'm doing this, because do we have these conversations day to day if we meet somebody at a restaurant or at a bar, where we talk about and Joshua, just know I'm not putting you on blast, but this is an example. This is a prime example of what I'm talking about. North Korean government exercising controls over people that it deems logical. America has different logic. Islamic countries, their own logic, and so on. It's subjective. It's still no, because what you're talking about is that's not that would not be a logical conversation. Now you're digging into morality. And the whole point of this stream is when we have conversations with, and we chop it up with everyday people, just your lay people, we don't use this rationale. We don't. And sorry, there's a train going by. I got to pause real quick. All right, my bad. I shut my windows. We don't have to worry about that again. There, and again, I'm not your philosophy guy, and that was the whole point in this stream is we don't. When we start bringing up, and now I just. See, this is what's problematic, Joshua. You know what, Joshua? The link is on there. If you want to come on here and talk about this, we can talk about this, because as soon as you bring racism or anything like that into it, we're not talking about logic anymore. Now we're talking about totally different issues. When I'm talking about logic, it's what is the reasoning? What is your reasoning in believing a certain way? What was the methodology? What were the methods you used to arrive to a belief or a deeply held belief? So I understand that you might have your own definition of logic, which that may be okay for you, but that's not going to be the collective, right? That's not going to be how most people define logic, because what you're talking about is not or would not be defined as logic. And again, I'll just go to the dictionary definition. Logic is reasoning conducted or assessed according to strict principles of validity. There's nothing that you've shared so far that aligns with that definition. And if you agree with the dictionary, then that's a problem that's beyond me. You're gonna have to holler at the people that put the definitions together for the dictionary. Yeah, I don't know how to better say that.
But they're not all like what we would call geek.
And we just added like 10 more viewers. So if anybody wants to come on and the just so we're clear, the topic, kind of the premise of this stream is the Christian, the atheist walking in the bar, and how do we conduct ourselves? First of all, do we really, like, if we're sitting in a bar having beers together, does it really go to a philosophical conversation? Because I know very, very, very few lay people, just your average day Christians, that can have any type of a philosophical conversation. And let's say it doesn't even do that, but it's just that I don't believe that there's a God, so they're highly offended by that. This has actually happened to me more in real life than not, is they're highly offended that I don't believe in their God, and then they attempt to turn it into a pissing match. And it just unravels from there, because just for a good example, I guarantee you, if I was to walk into a bar and I had a few, they had a few, and there was a Darth Dawkins or a Batman or a Jackal or whatever the fuck he calls him, Jackal, whatever, they would not talk to me in real life the way they talk to people on the internet. They wouldn't do it. They would not do it. And it's not because I'm going to intimidate or threaten or anything like that. But typically the people that act like that online, I just want to control, manipulate, and shut people up and demean people. They in real life they're soft batch, man. They're soft batch. And again, Joshua, by all means, man, I promise you, man, I'm easy to get along with. I'm cool to talk to. We've been our channel's been having these conversations. Well, myself and others on this channel have been having these conversations for 2-3 years now. By all means, man, jump on. We can talk. I promise I will be respectful. Doesn't mean I won't disagree with you, but I'll be respectful. But let's talk about it, because it's way easier for us to talk here than it is me going back and forth.
Right. And even I myself, I don't sit around and consume a lot of Christian content on the internet. I watch mostly fitness channels and news channels and homesteading channels. So, I mean, I'm not better than most, people, or as far as consuming large amounts of Christian content online. But I'm just saying, those who are interested in the type of stuff like Trinity Radio puts out, they're going to find their content online. There's always going to be someone creating content for them. They're going to find the people that have similar interests in different Facebook groups. Just like if you're a Marvel fan or if you're a sports fan and you like SEC football like I do, you're going to find content creators catering to that. And you're going to find Facebook groups that are dedicated to college football, or specifically Southeastern Conference football, which is really the only good kind of college football that exists. But you get what I'm saying. You can always find your people online more so than you might in your community, as we live our lives more and more digitally anyway. But again, most millennials not interested in any of this kind of stuff. But what I do find interesting is like one aspect of this is that Protestants, evangelical Protestants, are actually more inclined to watch this kind of content than Catholics. Quote, evangelical Protestants are 9 percentage points more likely than Catholics to consume digital content on religion or spirituality at least once a month, but no more likely than Catholics to post on social media about religion or spirituality monthly or more frequently, she found. By contrast, mainline Protestants are 14 percentage points less likely than Catholics to post on social media about religion or spirituality. It's because most mainline Protestants are now liberal and they don't really care about any of this Christian stuff anyway. But no less likely than Catholics to consume digital content on religion or spirituality monthly or more frequently. Presence at in-person religious services was found to influence participation in online faith activities. Like I said, if you're interested enough in this, except for that 5%, but if you're the type of person interested in theological or biblical studies or apologetic content, you're going to be an active member of your church. Those are your super Christians, so to speak. They're not only active in their church, but they're also active in online communities and finding Christian content to occupy their time. And again, that's not just talking about YouTube channels like in my little world, but it's just talking about in general. Like if they want to find a John MacArthur sermon or something like that, do better than that. But that's the kind of thing that they're talking about: online sermons or ministry leaders or people who are saying, producing spiritual type content. They're going to find some of that. Those are going to be your super Christians. But also channels like Trinity Radio, or if you were to ask Capturing Christianity or Inspiring Philosophy or Adam Coleman or some of these other Christian apologetics channels, what's interesting is not only are our channels for those who are practicing Christians having their spiritual lives in religious lives enriched by the content we're producing, we have a lot of non-Christians that engage our content. Sure, a lot of them are drive-by posting. They want to call us stupid. They want to say our arguments are bad. They want to talk about how unconvinced they are. They want to make fun of us in the comments. And yeah, that's par for the course. It's just that's part of the package when you get involved in Christian content creation. But they are engaging with it. So even though it's not that big of a slice of the millennial pie or the young adult pie, however we're calling the 18 to 35-year-olds, yeah, there's a small set of people that are going to be interested in any of this, but that's going to be both religious and non-religious people. And we have a lot of non-religious people and atheists engaging with our content, and we all have our anecdotal stories of people coming to faith through our channels or having renewed.
And I just want to point out, Mr. Pritchett has now several times, 3-4 times now, talked about his anecdotal, so anecdotal arguments where it's there's no good reason, there's no good evidence. There's none other than what he or maybe another Christian tells you, or what the Bible may tell you. There's no way to substantiate these claims, just like there's no way to ever prove, demonstrate, or substantiate the very, very far-fetched claims of the Apostle Paul. It's all anecdotal. And yes, I know it's anecdotal. Here on Tang, though, it's anecdotal. For good reasons, and if you want links later, I'll send it. But Joshua, to answer your question, I put it in the chat. I don't know if you saw it. There's a link that's pinned to the top of the side chat for StreamYard. All you should have to do is click on that and follow the link. Copy you might have to copy and paste, but follow the link, and as long as I know it's you, I won't even require you to be on camera. You can come on just with an avatar or whatever. But I'd love to talk to you. But it's hard when I'm hosting the show to go, back and forth in the side chat. So, but I'd love to talk to you.
Their faith, so to speak, because of the content that channels like Trinity Radio and others are, because of our content. So there is good news there, and it's good to know that we are functioning as an assist to the churches when their church lives are fulfilling that aspect of it. If they want to go deeper and they want to find content that's scratches that itch of knowing more, hopefully they find it in an engaging or entertaining kind of way, kind of infotainment, so to speak. I'm glad that we are.
Joshua, you can do it on your phone too, especially if you have whether it's wired earbuds or you have AirPods or whatever, you can do it straight from your phone and have direct connectivity in conversation. Like I said, you don't have to be on camera, just as long as I know it's you. Yeah, I do it from my phone all the time on other people's streams when they ask me to jump on for a few minutes. So you're all good, man. And I'm not trying to pressure you. It's totally up to you. But I think a lot of the things that we're talking about are worth talking about live. But by all means, no pressure whatsoever. If you don't want to, it's all good as well.
Providing that, and I'm also glad that non-religious people are coming to challenge us, because it's endless stream of inspiration for us to continue to produce content. But we are in fact engaging non-religious people at some level, because even if you're not a practicing religious adherent, religion is still part of the lives of the non-religious people who interact with the kind of content that we create. So, we're going to keep doing it. The question, I think, for Christian content creators is this, though. We're not really moving the needle broadly for young adults. Most young adults are not interested in watching the kind of content we create. Obviously, the research supports that. So we need to ask ourselves, we're competing with people who are talking about sports, and we're competing with people who are talking about fitness, and we're competing with people who are talking about homesteading. We're competing with people who are talking about pop culture and all of that. What kind of content do we need to do to get a bigger slice of the content creation overall, bigger slice of that pie? Because there's already a very small minority of people that are interested in this kind of content, engaging with it, obviously. And of course, we are all, I don't like to say competing, but we're all, in a sense, competing for people's time and their eyeballs to view all of our content, right? And it's already a small pool. And of course, there are channels that are smaller than ours, and there are channels that are bigger than ours. And even the biggest ones don't have lots and lots of people compared to other types of areas of interest. So what are we doing to expand our reach? How do we get more people to be interested in this kind of thing? That's a question that we need to face, just like churches. They're always saying, how do we do more outreach? How do we reach more people? Usually wrapped up in how do we reach more young people? Maybe you don't. Maybe you stop trying to reach young people. Maybe I do listen to my kids that even though they watch YouTube and have Facebook accounts, it's really for old people, and they just have it because dad's on there and they want to laugh at my dad jokes that I post. I don't know what it is, but there are literally billions of people using YouTube. And so there's a lot of people out.
No, sorry, Mr. Pritchett. Nobody wants to hear your dad jokes. Sorry. But I'll put this up here. So I have connected our phone line here. So even if someone, because I want to make sure anyone and everyone is comfortable in having the conversation, whether it's coming with the avatar on, or coming live on screen, or you just want to call in. There's a call-in number, and that way you are like 100% anonymous, and we can still have great conversations, because these conversations are important. That's why we do these streams. So 260-226-3880, and I'll leave that up there.
Out there. And if the goal is to just provide Christian content for theologically interested and apologetic interested Christians out there, that's a perfectly fine thing to do. There's no problem with that. You should have that, because it is making an impact on their spiritual lives, and that's good. And if that's all that you do, that's still a good thing. But if the goal is also to reach more people and to win the lost to Christ, which should be the goal of all of ours, we should be doing more evangelism. But how do you engage in evangelism that actually puts your evangelistic content in front of more people? What are we doing or not doing that is keeping this a very small pool and basically all vying for the same amount of eyeballs that are going to be interested in any of this? How do we?
I do want to point out one of the things in while we were talking, I failed to mention it, but Mr. Pritchett did he admitted to something. I don't even think he realized it, but he admitted to something that I think is so hurtful to a lot of Christians. And it is used as such a they weaponize this. Is there are the super Christians. I go to church Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm there for Thursday for music rehearsal. And not only am I doing all that, I'm also engaging online. I'm an online apologist. I am the super Christian. And then you have all these other normal folks that have normal jobs and families and marriages and kids and it's not that they don't want to be a super Christian like you, missed it, Pritchett. Yeah, and Joshua, I already looked you up, man, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you have a channel. Obviously, I have a channel. Let's chop it up, man. Like I promise you, I'm cool, man. I'm not one of these these atheists that love to sabotage and attack. I enjoy good conversations. I was a Christian for 30 years, over 30 years, man. It's I clung to the same belief you had for years. I just no longer hold on to it. So I love having these conversations. I think it's interesting, and I think it's important that we be able to have these conversations. But with those like Pritchett, missed it, Pritchett, and always turning a blind eye to the actual data, the actual facts. You're skipping around all these other things while using these hot button words like super Christian and Christian, super Christian and Christian. And you didn't say this. You didn't come out and say I am the super Christian, but we both know that you and your cohort are very, very proud members and contributors to your local church, and you also do all this online apologetics content. I'm sorry, apologetic content. So without coming out and saying that you are a super Christian, you said that you are a super Christian. So is Braxton, your cohort. But do you know how demeaning that is? Do you understand what that does to the average everyday layperson Christian that maybe has to work 60, 70 hours a week just to survive? And maybe they still cling to the belief the way you do, but they can't be a super Christian because they don't have the time that you have, missed it, Pritchett, to be that super Christian. Have you considered that, bruh? Have you considered that? I don't know if you seriously have. Because if not, you would not. You would not position yourself or those comments in that fashion. And again, I'll say that I feel like there's a couple Christians or theists in the chat. I promise, if you click the link, we can have a great conversation. Stop viewing this dumb video and have a conversation, because this is what this is about: is chopping it up and you know, each side of the table, so to speak, being able to talk. And I'll let you talk and I'll let you share. You know, as long as you're not rude or condescending or, you know, anything like that, I'll let you go. But these conversations are important. They need to be had.
We expand that pool for all of us, and mainly for Jesus, so that we can reach the lost. Because if we're going to be producing this kind of content and dedicating any portion of time to it, it needs to be fruitful. So how can we increase that footprint? How can we be more fruitful? Those are things that we need to ask ourselves, because again, not a lot of people are interested in this anyway, but the same questions that churches grapple with: how do we reach more people? How do we impact more people? How do we win lost souls to Christ? Christian content creators need to be asking ourselves the same question, or otherwise infotainment just becomes entertainment and we're just doing it for our own sake. And I don't know that, like I said, there's nothing wrong with that if you're trying to help augment people's church lives. That's fine. But there's a lot of people producing content for the same people. The same sets of people that watch our channel may watch other channels. And yeah, there's some people who watch ours that don't watch others, and don't watch ours but do watch others. But still, it's a very small pool. So we need to make that pool larger. We need to get more people involved into religious conversations. So that's something for us as content creators to think about. And it's something for all of you who are consumers of this content. What are we not doing? We want to hear from you.
Let me just throw this up here right now. Hellfear, if you want to call in or click into the link, I don't give a fuck what your accent is. I don't give a fuck where you're from. That does not matter to me. that does not matter to me. I am open to and I'm willing to talk to anyone that wants to have a good conversation. And I will try to, even if I'm not clear, I will simply ask you to either restate or reframe your question so that I do understand. And I promise you, if there's anyone in the side chat that is being rude, being disrespectful, making fun, anything like that, I promise you I'll be the first one to kick their asses out of here. And any of all of them that are listening right now, that they know, they'll tell you I have zero issues dismissing people for being assholes. Straight up.
From you, put it in the comments, whether you're a Christian or not a Christian, because obviously all of you atheists love this channel because we're the channel that loves atheists. So put in the comments, what do you want to see more of that we don't do, right?
Mute Oz, I did the rookie mistake again. Mr. Pritchett, I don't know if there's anything that I want you to do more of. Maybe be quiet. Like even for your Christian brethren and sisters, maybe just be quiet. But I do have a guest backstage, and Hellfear that was in the chat is here, and as I promised, we will take our time and get through this as as well as we can. But the one thing I can say is I will be respectful. I'll be cool and calm and cordial as long as you are. As long as you're cool, I'm cool. But as I've told any other guest that's ever came on here that does not, that we don't agree when it comes to God or religion, I'm cool as long as you're cool. As soon as you're not cool, I'm not cool. And that's when everything becomes uncool. So, Hellfear, thanks for joining. How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm fantastic, man. I've had a good night. I worked a lot tonight, so I think my adrenaline's still going because I was super busy at work earlier. But I'm good, and I appreciate you joining. Thank you.
Are you an atheist?
What's that?
Are you an atheist?
I am an atheist. Yes.
Okay.
What, do you prescribe to any specific religion?
I was born in the Catholic family. Yeah.
Okay.
But currently I don't follow any denomination.
Okay. Do you still hold to a God belief, or where are you at now?
Yes, I do. But it's just a coping mechanism.
Say that again for me.
It's just a coping mechanism for me.
So some of the questions I might ask is just so I can get clarity, so that we're on the same page. So well, this one, yes or no? You or do you not still hold on to Catholicism?
No.
Okay, so again, yes or no? Would you align yourself more with like a non-denominational type of Christianity?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
But again, I would say it's like a coping mechanism to get away from my fear of death.
Okay, so you're and again, so sometimes I'm probably going to repeat just to make sure. I want to make sure you and I are on the same page. So what I think I heard was some of it maybe that you're holding on to it because of a fear of death. Is that what I heard?
Yes.
Okay, and what is it about? What is about death or that transition from living to not living that scares you?
I'm getting a lot of echoes when I'm to the mic. Is it my problem or like there's a lot of echo?
Yeah. So if you would if you have a computer or anything around you that's playing the stream, if you could like pause that or mute that way you and I are having that feedback or that.
I'm just using the stream. Yeah. I'm not you. I have no tabs with YouTube on.
Let me make sure mine's on it. Let me make sure it's not me making a rookie mistake. Give me 1 second. Oh, nope. It is my fault. And it has nothing to do with YouTube. It has to do with StreamYard. So give me 1 second. All right. So before we go forward, everybody in the chat, how does this sound? Because I think it was a StreamYard thing, but I think I fixed it.
Okay. Now I'm not hearing any echoes.
Good. All right. So,
so what's your name actually?
My name is Oz.
Oz. Okay. So Oz, you were a Christian, right? Like, have you read the chapter Job?
Well, in America, the way we pronounce it is Job, but yes, Job. Yes, I'm very familiar.
Okay, so after Job goes through a lot of problems, Job there questions God about his creation. That like why did he create him in the first place? Why all this suffering, right? So mostly in this conversation, I want to talk about theodicy, the philosophical problem of evil or hell.
So you want to talk about the problem of evil and what else?
Hell.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, I'm open to that.
So if I come to an agnostic position, like let's say I'm like let's say I'm in a suspicious position that there might be a God or there is no God. So in both situations, I believe humans might question their creators. If God exists, they might question God for creating them and placing them in a terrible world and them suffering in this world, right? If God doesn't exist, like what the postmodern thinking, like if God is dead, then we must question our parents for creating us and placing us in this terrible spot.
If I'm tracking you correctly, this is where for me is for the theist, this is more problematic and more difficult for the theist, whether they be a Christian or a Muslim or whatever, is because if there's a God that is responsible, or a deity that's responsible for this, this God, this deity can no longer be all loving, all knowing, all powerful, all capable, yet, right? Because he would be it would be the demand would be morally that he created the best atmosphere and the best situation for his creation, right? Because he is all good. So why would he not create all good for his creation? But if
So
it's
yeah.
a more naturalistic explanation, then yes, that means there's a lot more variables involved because no one's claiming that there is this perfect, all-knowing, all-loving, all-encompassing deity or presence or God that's in control, and things will naturally either improve or some things just naturally deteriorate, right? And that's part of a naturalistic perspective, but I think that's why it's more problematic for the theist to believe that there is a God that created everything, because if there is or was a God that created everything, they fail on so many levels.
I agree with you. So if the way humans assume or humans humanize God, like loving, good God or something like that. So if we ask our own creators, let's say there is not, let's say God is not the creator. Let's say we are created by our parents, the parents being the creators of the next generation. So if we ask our parents, why did they create us into this world, where they know that your child will grow old one day and die terribly in the old age, or let's say that child will suffer these many accidents, all those things, they have a control over them, but they still reproduce, right? So will you consider the parents as good loving people, or will you say they are like in the neutral state? If we can answer that question, we can say that God is of the same type, like that.
See, I think I think I see where you're going with this.
So
And
this topic is actually called theodicy. The first topic where we question God is called theodicy, and where we question humans we call it anthropodicy.
right, and that's what I said. I think you know where you're going with this, and the very simple separation in this conversation is we're talking about. So I'll talk about my parents. My parents are simple-minded human beings that did the best that they could do to, you know, live the best they knew and raise me the best they knew. Um, never, if they were to sit down and write an autobiography, never would they claim that they're omni anything. If anything, they would claim that they fucked a lot of shit up, right? The difference between that and a Yahweh or a Allah or whatever God we want to refer to is these deities, these gods claim to have all of these um, alpha and omega, beginning and the end, omni type traits, where they would be able to perform all of these gymnastics, right? That more, sorry, not more, that logically, like they don't have to apply to the exact same standards of logic that supposedly they created, right? That's the issue. But my mom and dad never told me that they know everything and that they're all loving and all sufferable and yeah, never. But for me, growing up as a Christian, the Christian God definitely claims to be all of the omnis, and that's there's a very distinct separation in that conversation.
What I'm saying is, let's say, let's take the atheistic perspective, and if we take that perspective, we are sure that God is a created version of human. We try to humanize this thing and put all those values we aspire to onto the supreme being, what humans created. So, in a sense, let's say God doesn't exist, then my question is like, they have a choice, right, to abstain from reproduction when they know that their kids might come into this world, suffer and die. uh, they are imposing death upon millions of their descendants. They know all these things, but still humans reproduce, right? So but they have a choice, like let's say, I'm not saying claiming omnipotent or something. They have a power to abstain from reproduction, right? But they still do it for the thing. So I'm saying that if we say that, so I have seen a lot of atheists saying this argument, like questioning God about the morality and the evil things. Why did God allow tsunamis, earthquake, all those things? So the similar way, when parents know that earthquake, tsunami, or these many pandemics, or let's say death is the permanent thing, right? Everyone dies. So why they have a choice not to reproduce, but they still reproduce?
Well, well, again, I think just so you and I are 100% clear that the first comment that I'm going to make, that this is tongue in cheek, and this is 100% meant to be comedic and funny when I say this. The first thing is not all, but majority of humans love to have sex. We love to fuck, right? And it feels good, and we love to engage in uh, that action and get that action, right? We and the next step after that, if there's no protection, there's no, so on and so forth. Reproduction is a natural process of enjoying that action, and so part of it's just it's biological, right? We have sex, we have babies. I can tell you, I have 4 children. I'm an atheist, and it was there was never if I think I understand what you're asking me, to now more directly answer your question. There was never a question on should I contribute to bringing another life onto, into existence onto this earth, because I know how many bad things happen. Because yes, there are a lot of evils, and there's a lot of fucked up shit that happens on this planet, but there's also a lot of beautiful things that happen on this planet, and which further concretes my disbelief in a God. But I would love to know that my ex-wife and I, we had our four children, and they experience the best life they can, and that there's going to be all kinds of shit that life throws at them, but that doesn't mean that they should have never been here just because bad shit happens.
Okay, I don't know whether you are getting my points exactly. Will you be able to share the screen, and I might put up a link which has the topic?
Yeah, maybe that's, yeah. If that'll help us, yeah. Because I'm trying. I promise you, man. I promise you. I'm trying to follow.
Yeah. I put up the chat. I put up it in the private chat, and you can check. Okay, I can share the screen. Okay.
Give me 1 second.
Or you can share the screen. I have put up a private chat link.
Yep, I'm clicking on it now. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, and you can go to theodicy and anthropodicy in the argument.
Oh, okay. See, okay. Yeah, I'm glad you said that. And I will throw it up there. That does help because, yeah. Now I was completely missing what you were saying, so that's my fault. Hold on, I'll share the screen. Give me 1 second.
So 1.2, theodicy and anthropodicy.
All right, and I'll read through this and we can talk about it. So yeah, because now the link you sent me, I think yeah, I completely misunderstood what you were saying. Julio Cabrera considers the issue of being a creator in relation to theodicy and argues that just as it is impossible to defend the idea of a good God as creator, is also impossible to defend the idea of a good man as a creator. And parenthood, the human parent imitates the divine parent in the sense that education could be understood as a form of pursuit of salvation, the quote unquote right path for a child. However, a human being could decide that it is better not to suffer at all than to suffer and be offered the later possibility of salvation from suffering. In Cabrera's opinion, evil is associated not with the lack of believing, but with the suffering and dying of those that are alive. So, on the contrary, evil is only and obviously associated with being. So I do want to stop there because let me go back up here. This hopefully you guys can see what I'm highlighting. This is problematic in this argument. In parenthood, the human parent imitates the divine parent. I'm like I stated, I'm a father of 4. There is nothing divine about me. I've never met a parent living on our planet that has any divine characteristics. So I would need an explanation of what
divine is, right? So let's say I'll pretend to be an atheist in this show, and I would say like divine is some character which we humans have, let's say some good qualities. Now I'm trying to make that character, like let's say I'm trying to make it something big and impose it upon some being. So let's say you are not a divine parent or something, but you have some good qualities, let's say in a smaller amount. Are you able to get me?
No, yes, I did hear everything you said, but I looked up the definition of divine. The definition of divine is of, from, or like God or a God. So
Okay.
there's nothing divine as his human parents.
So like what do you think, like how the idea of God come into existence in the first place? Like to me, Christianity, if I look at Christianity goes one step further, and in the process of humanizing God, they even actually bring God into existence as Jesus Christ and having the qualities of human attributes and everything. Same.
And sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm glad you did, because this is actually now this is why I created this stream, is to have this conversation, what you just brought up. So before we even get to, because I'll probably blow your mind when I give you my position on Jesus, but before we get to Jesus, let's reset. So let's pause and reset, and let's do this is what we do here on our channel. I don't. This may be the first time is this the first time you ever viewed our show?
Yeah, first time watching your YouTube video.
Okay, so just so you know, every once in a while we'll take a pause and I'll have a little music break. Everybody can like stretch, and it's only like 30, 60 seconds long, but stretch, have a drink, do whatever, and we reset. That way we can focus. But everybody, new viewers or you're an OG, you know what time it is. All right, so a reset on that. You brought it back to the reason I even started this stream is let's say you and I we meet at a bar and we start having these conversations. Before we get into, even though I love talking about the definitions of divinity and is there anything from a human level that we could that we could demonstrate that we share something in common with this divine Jesus guy that walked? But before we can even do that, we have to talk about Yahweh. If you're a Bible believing theist, we have to talk about Yahweh. And if we just met at a bar, let me ask you this. If you and I, let's say we ran into each other's at a and I don't know where you live, but I'm just like list a popular chain restaurant here in the States. We ran into each other at an Applebee's, and I hate Applebee's, but we'll say we met at Applebee's. How would you, if the conversation came up, how would you tell me about the God that you believe in, or at least you hold on to, right? How would you explain to me that he is real and he is worth serving, or living my life according to his wishes or his even commands?
I would say that God of my belief system, it's totally different from the common Christianity. So I believe that that God is the supreme being, and we are created for his own fun. It's a selfish creation for him, and he might be cruel, he might be good, sometimes everything. For us, the way we see ants or something, or we don't give any significance to them. Sometimes some people might play with the ants or anything. So in a way, my idea of God is like he's sometimes good, sometimes bad. He's sometimes very cruel, sometimes very good. So it's up to the God to do whatever he wish, and we are in a position that we cannot do anything else.
And if you and I ran into each other at a common establishment, restaurant, whatever, that's how you would explain God to me?
Yeah, I believe that, like, he might be very cruel individual with lot of power, and because he's so powerful, and we are given one option to obey him, and or else we might be put into hell or something. And so he created us for his own fun. So that's the way I would define him.
Okay, no, and I appreciate you being honest and transparent with that. So then my follow up would be then that now in this current conversation, do you, when the Bible says that God is love, right? The Bible in the scriptures, God is love. What does that mean to you when the Bible says God is love?
God is love. What I feel is like, I can't explain that to you. I don't know. I would like to answer that question. I don't know. Like, I don't really know, because when I look at the Bible, I can see a lot of cruel things happening and all those things. I would not define God as love.
Okay, would you at least for a second think that that's problematic, that you don't see God as love, but the Bible defines God as love?
Like, look at Abraham's son, where he asks Abraham to bring his own son and sacrifice. That's a terrible thing, right? How will you define that God as a loving being? I don't think so. God is not a loving being.
So, Hellfear, which is our guest scream name, you just brought up my go-to story as an atheist. Being a father, you literally just teed me up, because I agree with you. I agree with everything that you just said, and what you just shared was one of the catapults and one of the moments that it was a point. It was a catalyst in me walking away from Christianity and walking away from faith, when I realized that this God, Yahweh, was, or supposedly is love, right? And that's how the book defines him, that he is love. And in Corinthians, gives the definition of love and how love should act and perform, and whatnot. But yet this God is so obsessed with being worshipped, and so obsessed with his image, and how these people view him, if he were to be real, that he actually didn't request, but commanded Abraham to take his child up onto a hilltop, mountaintop, whatever you want to say, and to literally murder him. That is the request or command of a sociopath, of a crazy person, of a psychotic individual, right? And having 4 kids, I don't care, hellfear, if it was you, if it were my own parents that brought me into this earth. I don't care who it was. I don't even care if there was a God that popped up and said, Oz, I require you to murder your child in order to prove and demonstrate your love and or loyalty to me. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to tell them to fuck off, because I love my kids, right? And I actually know how to demonstrate love, and that is defending, showing up and being there and not harming the people that I tell that I love. And everything that Yahweh did to both Abraham and Isaac was abusive, was traumatic, and now in modern day ages would have caused extreme PTSD.
Okay, I agree with you, but in the way you asked me whether God is love, now you told me that you love your kids. You claimed you love your kids. So I
Absolutely.
might, I might change some symbolism, some of the example of Abraham, and I'll say that you are the Abraham, and you have a kid, and let's say the God which commanded you to kill the child, I will say that it's a nature or the DNA or something, and other with the dagger or something, let's say it's some environmental factors. And from a consequentialist point of view, I'm asking you, what kind of death do you want your child to die from, and what kind of death do you want your child not to die from? You claimed you love your kids.
Well, but no, and with all due respect, I think that's a severe. I think that's a severe and blatant uh, um, misdirection in the conversation, because the what got us here was you said and claimed that you don't believe that God is all love, because there's a lot of uglier, nasty things that happen, whether it's on by direct revelation or direction, whatever, from that God. That was your that that's your claim. That was your position. So I don't want to go any other direction until we solve this problem, because that's a
Okay.
major problem. That's a major problem.
So what I was trying to say is, like, God being the supreme being, the powerful being, I'm showing the omnipotence when I replaced God with nature, DNA, and other sort of things. What I meant is like the death being a universal thing for all the beings. I am comparing a powerful concept with the God. And when I say the dagger being the other factors, let's say accident or some depressive factors, or let's say tsunami, earthquake, other things. So you already know. Do you claim that you are all loving to your kids?
Well, but no, but again, you're redirecting. You're redirecting, and hold that thought for 1 second, because there's somebody in the chat that just brought something up that is a huge, like, widely problematic with the Abraham and Isaac story. I want to address this. I'm sorry. I normally don't do this mid conversation, but I need to here, because I've studied this story a lot. Joshua said Isaac was a symbol of Christ, the Father and the Son, but he stopped. Abraham knew God could revive Isaac. He had killed him. That's nonsense. That is nonsense, and that is literally promoting child abuse. That is literally promoting PTSD. That's like all of things I grew up like in real life suffering from. That what you just described right there, Joshua, is an abusive relationship with a parent. That is an abusive relationship, and you can again try to dance around it and parade around it, but this right here is what's problematic about the Bible God. Is it's gaslighting all day, every day. Now, sorry.
So what I was so if you can read the second paragraph of the thing, I think you will be able to understand me more. The second paragraph of that thing.
Okay, yeah, let's pull it back up.
This one.
Kareem Akirma, due to the normal problem of man as creator, induces how do you say that?
Anthropodicee.
Yeah, where he said a twin concept of theodicy. He is of the opinion that the less faith in the Almighty Creator God there is, the more urgent the question of
Anthropodicee.
Thank you. You say it much more eloquently than I can. Akirma thinks that for those who want to lead ethical lives, the causation of suffering requires a justification. Man can no longer shed responsibility for the suffering that occurs by appealing to an imaginary entity that sets moral principles. For Akirma, antinatalism is a consequence of the collapse of theodicy endeavors and the failure of attempts to establish an according to him, there is no metaphysics nor moral theory that can justify the production of new people, and therefore that word is indefensible as well as a theodicy.
Third paragraph too. Jason Marsh.
Jason Marsh finds no good arguments for what he calls evil. Sorry,
Asymmetry.
Thank you. And it doesn't help. My contacts are getting blurry as fuck. That the amount of kinds of suffering provides strong arguments that our world is not an act of creation made by a good God, but the same suffering does not affect the morality of the act of procreation. All right. So how does that that would help me? How does that help me?
That one. So your argument is similar to Jason Marsh. So the argument. So within the atheist community, a lot of anti-natalists are coming up who questions the morality of reproduction. So if you read that philosophical idea, you might feel that reproduction is the most unethical thing a human can do to billions of humans if you take in consideration of their descendants too over the time. So if one chooses not to reproduce, they are preventing suffering and death for millions of humans, I mean their descendants over time. But so the idea Akarma says is that so God earlier, before, when God, people believed in God, they didn't complain their parents or anything. They were questioning him, they were blaming him for all the problems happening on earth. So with the decline of religion, so he says that anthropodicee has become similar to theodicy. So same way, so now humans might start questioning their parents, their love, everything, when they know that when why did they had unprotected sex when they can have protected sex, or when they can sterilize themselves or something, and they bring humans into existence and impose suffering and death upon them. So they says that theodicy, anthropodicee is indefensible like theodicy. So philosophical problem of evil from God, now that is being transferred to humans. So that's the reason I asked you whether when you say you love your kids, do you say you are all loving?
No, I did not say that.
Okay, so you are okay with some suffering happening to the kids. You are okay with some cancer.
No.
I might be okay.
Yeah, well, we're not going to do that. No, I'm not. I'm not all loving. I'm not all knowing. And no, I don't want my children to suffer. I don't want anyone to. I don't want me to suffer. I don't want any of those things to happen. But I am not a deity. I'm not a god. I do not get to orchestrate this shit. Right. The difference in this argument, and I've heard this argument before. in this argument, this is where it all falls apart, man. It is you're talking about us as humans procreating, like we have intercourse, we have sex, and a seed hits an egg, and there's a baby. But I'm not what even if that child is born, I'm not the alpha and omega. I'm not the creator at the beginning and the end. I don't control all of that. But the God of the Bible, especially, says that he knew you before you were formed in your mother's womb. Right? There's a huge difference, and that's why this argumentation is, and with all due respect, is nonsense to me, because
I
there is no human that claiming to have that position.
So I agree with you. Like when you say omnipotent God, but an has the choice to prevent suffering or something. So let's say I'll pretend like an anti-natalist and I will talk to you. You're a natalist, like someone who is okay with human reproduction. But I'm saying that I love my kids so much. I have decided not to reproduce. I have some power in that regard. I decided not to have unprotected sex. And I have decided not to impose death upon my kids or my grandkids or my great grandkids, all my hypothetical descendants. I have prevented suffering all these things for my descendants.
Well, if everything in this life had to, and again, to go back, well, let me finish that thought. If anything and everything that this life had to offer was negative and was traumatic and it was bad, yeah, you'd probably sign me up for that. But I know better than that, because yes, I've had my lows of my lows, and I've been through the shit, man. I've been through the shit, but I've also had a lot of really awesome experiences in great and met amazing people, and had amazing time. So I would never want to strip that from anybody. But let me hit a hard pause there and say, back to the original part of the stream, or I'm sorry, the original point of the stream. A Christian and atheist walk into a bar. Still, none of this would convince me to believe in a God.
Okay, let's say God also says the same thing. Even though there is tsunami, even though there is coronavirus, even though there is earthquakes, there are volcanic eruptions, diseases, everything, but still I allowed this suffering so humans can appreciate happiness, all those things. So what if God answers the similar way you answered to the question?
Again, I don't know everything. I don't, but if the way I view this, if again, previous to what you just said, if it's you and I, we just met at a bar, and you're trying to explain this to me, I don't understand why a God needs a tsunami, or needs a hurricane, or needs a global flood, or needs any of these things to demonstrate that he loves people.
Look, the way, so he might have designed the universe in a way humans are not able to comprehend or something. Let's say we I don't know whether people in heaven really enjoys something or they are bored with their happiness or something. Let's say earth, if the suffering or all those things, if God designed in such a way to make it like he doesn't care. So I think you are uh, contradicting with the common idea of Christian God and my idea of Christian God. So the way I am telling you is like God, if God is the same person like the normal human parents here who don't think about, like, the question I asked you was what kind of death do you want your child to die from? So when I asked that thing, do you want your child to die from heart attack or accident, suicide? There are a lot of deaths, right? Before you reproduce, you know these things would happen to your kid, but you still did that. But compared to an anti-natalist who claim a morally superior position, they decided not to impose that upon them, but you still did it. So
No, I have to stop you there. That is so problematic. You're you're trying to attribute let me rephrase that. You're trying to smuggle in the same attributes of a all-knowing, all-living God to me as just a human, and when I had sex and procreated, that a God or a deity would have, knowing that, okay, when this thing happens, then A, B, C, and D are going to happen. I didn't know that. I would never know that. Just like when your parents had you and my parents had me, they didn't know what our lives were going to look like. But we never claim as parents. Do you have do you have kids?
No.
So
I have decided not to reproduce because what if hell exists, eternal hell exists, and my kids might end up in hell. So I have decided not to reproduce.
Hold on. Okay, hold on. Let's stop there. Let's stop there. You said, what if hell exists? And let's keep it on this conversation, because I think this could be huge right now. So Hellfear, and for everybody knows that that's a screen name. I'm not being an ass. Hellfear, what good reasons do you have to believe that there is a hell? Why would you ever think that there's a hell?
So the way I look at things, so let's say, are you a vegan? Let me ask you this question: are you a vegan?
That has nothing to do with this conversation.
It's again linked with this conversation. So let's say there are ants or some.
All I want to know. Let's, because I don't want a bunch of variables. I want to talk about it is what it is, or it isn't what it isn't. So there's this concept of hell. Why would you believe, or why are you, or why could you be convinced that hell is an actual place once someone dies?
For me, I actually don't know whether hell exists or not. For me, there are three ideas in what Christians convey. One is universal reconciliation, where everyone will be brought back to God and will be in heaven or something. Another thing is annihilation, where the sinners and bad people will be annihilated into nothingness. The third one was eternal conscious torment, hell, where bad people, sinners, will go into some place with. So from my wishful thinking, I want them in my wishful thinking is universal reconciliation, but I'm not sure about any of these positions. So my belief system is mostly from a wishful thinking, or from my Pascal's wager point of view, or to solve the problem of anthropodicee and put the blame upon God. I choose to believe in God.
Okay, so there was two key things that you said there, and one is I choose.
Yeah,
I choose that's one of the keys there, and what you just shared. But let's for a second, let's eliminate that answer, and let's just talk about the evidence or lack thereof, or the probability or the improbability of there being an afterlife. Why, like right now, and you and I having this conversation, what good reason that you've seen, heard, evidence that you've been able to observe would suggest that there is and we won't just say hell, that there is a heaven or a hell? Do you have any good reason to believe that either of those two places are actual destinations and places that we will arrive to?
okay. So my belief, if you look, like I was an atheist in from age 12 or something, then I became an agnostic. The reason I came back to my belief system was from Pascal's wager. So it was instead a leap of faith into something, so I can resolve a lot of problems and put the blame upon God rather than my creator, human creator, my parents. So my belief is not based on some what do you call some evidence or something, but I would call like it's a coping mechanism where you don't have the god of gaps, so you can have better answers or something. So that's
Sorry, because I want to make sure we're clear when we're talking about Pascal's wagers. So to break it down to the most elementary definition or form, is it's better to believe than not to believe.
Yeah. And if you can, have you read this thing, terror management theory? So it states that we humans build up a lot of things to deny our death. All our things in the world is just an immortality project. Even the act of procreation, some people see it as a continuation of their bloodline. All of these are immortality projects. So one of the immortality projects within this thing is belief in God. You believe in God and going that thing. So the psychologist who come up with these theories is Sheldon Solomon, and the actual thing was from Ernest Becker. It was a Booker Prize winning book, The Denial of Death. So many people have different belief systems. Religious people believe one more belief system, and they take the leap of faith in that thing.
But it is. Let me reframe that. How or why do you believe that Pascal's wager is a dependable way to arrive at a true thing? Like why is that dependable to you?
Again, the idea of truth, if I look at it from things, it's most of the things I'm receiving everything from my sense organs, and I have to trust my sense organs and come up with this truth. Again, it's again a subjective thing.
I want to jump in. Sorry, and rarely do I try to be, because in this conversation, this is very important. When you say truth, can you please define what is your definition of truth?
Definition of truth. So if a person, if an individual sees something, let's say I'm talking to you right now, and I believe that you're a human and this internet is real, these truths, because over the time I have done these things and the data has accumulated too much, and I believe that these things are real from my data points, because it doesn't contradict it doesn't go in very violation of my actual experiences.
Okay, so if I can, to the best I can, steel man that, so we're on the same page. Would you agree, if I were to steel man that truth is what comparts with or aligns with our reality? Would you agree with that?
I agree with you, but what will you say to a blind person about color and other things?
Well, but that's when we're talking about supernatural, or we're talking about supernatural, all of those things that's irrelevant. That's so irrelevant, because you're going to physical human apprehensions or debilitations or whatever. You're trying to compare that to a deity, and that's not even close to being fair.
So what when I say, so let's go back to the Job example. So in chapter 38, God questions Job, like he asked, like, where were you when I created the universe? Where were you when I created the stars? So when he questions that, he's the verses I feel like is like God is beyond our comprehension. Let's say if you're from Australia, right?
Nope, I'm from the Midwest of the U.S. of A.
Okay, there's this cult called John from Cult. So this cult believes that there will be some US Navy captains coming to their island, and they will be believing that's the real God, which will be coming and helping them. So since they are from a tribal village and they can't comprehend the idea of these navy ships or these big inventions, they have created this concept of God. So and even if we go and try to explain to them, they will not be able to comprehend this idea. The similar way, our senses and our things are limited, and we can't really comprehend God, and you might call it God of gaps.
Well, I mean, I could go to God of the Gaps, but to the entire book of Job, I would say is a complete, just a 100% complete display, and even a brag session from Yahweh on how much he doesn't actually love his creation, but he loves to prove his own points.
Yeah, so if I can answer to that, so I was born in a slum in India, and I had a very bad childhood. So I used to ask my parents, but I was good at studies and got into a good college in India. So some and built some good money from my salary. But I used to ask my parents like, why did they bring me into existence when they know I will have a terrible childhood in slum and will suffer a lot of diseases and will die. They also used to brag like the same God mentioned in the Job.
All right, but again, there's a clear distinction between talking about fallible, very problematic human beings, and then trying to like, this is a false equivocation. Like, you're trying to equivocate that to then a necessary God that derives all of existence and all of our being, and that's not even a conversation to be had. What we need to know first and foremost, especially if you are in line with the Bible God, is, first of all, how do we know that this dude exists? And if he does exist, is he worth serving? Because there are so many problems. If he is all loving, all knowing, all these things, right? Why did he create this scenario again? And he already acknowledged in I think it's Exodus, he said he regretted creating what he had already created. Like, we already know that he acknowledges that he fucks up. But that's not us as humans. That we're talking about a deity that proclaims to know everything. He says in the Bible, bro, that he knows the count of hairs on our heads, but
Okay,
yet can't solve the problem of evil. Come on, man.
I would answer you in so the
Well,
pro.
think,
So
hold on,
you are
real quick. Think about this. I want you to like, and I'm going to pause. I'm going to take my time because I want. The one thing I don't like is when people, when not just you, but when I'm engaging or I'm talking to somebody, that it's about what am I going to say next. I want you to think about this when I say this. This God in this book claims to know the number of hairs on your head and my head and the billions of other people across this planet, right? That's his claim. He claims to know the number of hairs on your head, but yet he can't cure child cancer. He can't cure AIDS. He hasn't found a way to do away with racism or any type of phobia around the LGBT plus community, and he's supposedly supposed to love all these people. Like, he can't figure any of that out, and he can't fix any of that, bring no solutions to any of that, but yet he knows to a T how many hairs are on your head. Is that not problematic to you?
Can I answer now? So the idea being here is that we humans are demanding that a loving God should solve all the problems on earth, all those things. What if this was the desired product of God, allowing all this suffering to exist? So he
But
built
why?
this.
But why? Then why?
The answer to that is God is beyond our comprehension.
No,
He,
no, I don't accept that. And this is where, and again, I'm not going to get aggressive or be,
let me pretend like your child, and I am asking you,
no,
like,
because I'm not God. You know, I already threw that out the window. You don't get to do that. because
No.
I don't claim to be a deity.
Okay.
I don't claim to be the Alpha and Omega. I just claim to be a dude that had
Hmm.
sex and had babies. That's it. I don't claim
Okay.
to be anything else.
But your child somehow came up, interacted with some antinatalist, or let's say he found this literature on some philosophical book, and he asked you the same question. I found this guy who has taken a moral position not to reproduce, so he could have avoided death and suffering for billions of humans. He's asking you, what is your one unselfish reason to have him in the first place, when you know this being will die one day?
That's so irrelevant to what we're talking about. This is and again, I'm never going to be rude or be an ass, but this is so far off the topic, and this is such a sidestep to the actual point that I'm making. Is
Okay.
I've said it over and over and over again, whether it's myself or any other human being that procreates on this earth, there's no way that you can try to say, okay, God did this and he's okay. He's justified by doing this because you did this as a human. Do you understand that that logic is so flawed and is so far off the map that it makes no sense.
Now let's say the whole world has become atheistic. The whole world, there's no creator, nothing, and humans are no more blaming the creator for all the problems happening in their life, or the unnatural or the natural calamities or something. So do you think humans will rise to this moral position and stop reproducing and the world go extinct?
You know what? To be honest with you,
Hmm.
Hellfear, I wish we knew that world. I wish we could question that world, but we don't live in that world. So all that's all that's semantics. That's what ifs, what ifs, what ifs. What we do operate in is a world where we have no matter what region of this world that you were born into and grew up in, we have we're born into these bad ideas and these bad beliefs that say A, B, and C. And now, like this argumentation, now you're trying to attach the disgusting and the horrible and the nasty things that a Bible deity or a Bible God did to his creation, where he should be the one that's being held responsible. Do you see why that's problematic?
Yeah, I agree with you. So what I'm saying is, the omnipotent, omni-loving God creating humans in a suffering world, is the gravity of the sin or gravity of the crime God committed against these creations is really high, while it's the morality of the gravity of the crime or the problem a human parent creates for his or her child, it might be lower compared to the same person. Both the things happening here are the same thing, the creation in a sufferable world. But I'm saying that gravity, the problem, the crime committed by God is higher, while the human crime is also the same thing, the creation. So two crimes doesn't make the other ones more like, eh, you got my idea, right?
Yeah, I hear you, but then I'm going to rewind and go back to the point I made several minutes ago. If you or anyone believes in this God that knows everything and he knows the exact number of hairs on your head and my head, but still won't fix all of this, and he was the originator of, he is the Alpha and Omega, like he made all of this become what it is and eventually what it won't be. Isn't it like at least the most decent thing that he can do, if he is a loving God, is to fix these things for his creation? Like isn't that the good thing to do, the right thing to do?
Again, I'm comparing God here with the human idea of morality here, And
but you
what?
can't. But you can't do that. You can't. That's why I said earlier that's a false equivocation, because other than Kanye West,
Hmm.
I don't know anybody that claims that they're a god.
Okay, so so my answer to the question was like the God designed it in such a way that it's appropriate for him. He doesn't consider about us. Let's say, and I'm trying, a limited being with limited senses is trying to comprehend the idea of God's design there. Let's say I'm trying to teach a cat some big theory or some human concepts. Will the cat know something? Because cat is limited compared to me. So again, I am going here to the God of gaps. I am not able to comprehend God's idea of creation there, right?
No,
Can
no, no. That's absurd. Like, that's an absurd analogy. That's 100% absurd. Because again, if and I'm going on the fact that you said that that you read it and subscribe to the Bible, and in the beginning, God made the heaven and earth, and He created you in His image, right? And you should be able to at least function within His premises, right? But what He didn't give you was knowledge. What He didn't give you was complete understanding, and still doesn't do until this very single day. Like right now, when we're talking, you don't. You've not met God, right? Have you met God? Have you shook hands with God? Or have you had conversations with God?
no?
Okay. So we still have this we still have this stopgap where it's like, why why buy into these things when none of this has been demonstrated to us? So let's pause that real quick. So Hellfear, tell me this: why? And I know you said you're still kind of searching and holding on to certain things, but what you do hold on to right now, why do you hold on to? We talked about hell, but other than that, what is a good reason to hold on to this?
My answer to that is terror management theory. If you can check it up or share the screen, you will understand why I hold on to that belief system.
Say it again.
Terror management theory. I can put up a link.
Fear of management, you said?
Terror management theory. Yeah, I have put up a link in the private chat.
Oh man, if this is what I think is gonna, and not against you at all, but just because I think I know this is going to break my heart. Oh man, I'm for tonight, and I would love to have you on again and talk about this. But for me tonight, because recently I've been going through my own shit, and there's a lot of this that I think, without me giving proper warnings to those that may view this, watch this, or listen to this, I don't think it'd be fair just to throw this up, because this can be triggers for some people that have PTSD and things like that. But what I would tell you is, Hellfear, I don't mean this to sound condescending or anything like this, because I am one that suffers from PTSD from the fear of hell being pounded into my brain for 30 years, and being scared to death of my flesh burning for eternity. And when you said it, I was like, I think I know, but then when I think I know what you're talking about. Then when I followed the link, I get it, and I hate that, man. I hate that.
this is not about that thing. This is about death, denial of death. So if you can check up the link, so he says that there are many immortality projects. One is having where people do some big projects, transhumanist projects, or let's say someone enjoys their job, or let's say someone is so patriotic and nationalistic to the idea of country, or like let's say some people reproduce. So
No, bro, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop you. I'm gonna stop you because I have
thank you for giving me the opportunity. Thank you very much.
and you're welcome to come back and talk again. But I don't want to dive into this tonight because I can see this being without proper warnings for those viewing and listening. I can see this being problematic, but we can do it with the correct warnings in the future.
Okay, I think did you click any other link? I shared a link here. It's a psychological theory only, not some terrible thing.
So
In the private chat.
before you go, without going into, because I literally have it right in front of me right now, but when you say terror management theory, what is your definition? That way, because I want to study and I want to do research and I would love to talk to you again. But what is your definition?
So humans fear the idea that they are just insignificant animals on this planet and they are affected by death. So subconsciously they do something to leave their legacy or something to continue their existence. Some people by kids, some people by their work, some people by the idea of believing in God. So there are multiple immortality projects created by humans, and some believe that when they can't accept the reality that they will die one day.
I can accept that, yes, all of us will die one day, but it's the yeah, it's all the things that feed into that. But if you want, I'll put it in the side chat here before you leave because I do. I want to be fair and consistent. Give me 1 second. I'll put something in the private chat.
Yeah, so the reason I believe in God is terror management theory.
And I'm not even gonna make any other comments, but that's our I just put it in the private chat. That's our email for the channel. So please email us, and I would love to set up a time where we can really zero in on and focus on that because I think there's a lot to talk about there.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Os. Bye.
Thank you. Appreciate you. No, that was no, and again, it's whether I agree or disagree, that those are the conversations that need to happen, man, because there's so many people, even if he continues to believe, there's other people that will hear that and realize like, nah, man, I'm believing this shit for bullshit reasons, right? But before I wrap it up, I do have to ask one more time, Baptist Joshua, I would love to have you, even if only for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever. I would love to have you on, even if you want to just call in. I'll put the number back up just so it's clean and clear. And I would love to talk to you about Abraham and Isaac. That is, other than Jesus being a myth, that is my favorite conversation to have. So if you're willing, I'd love to entertain that conversation. Yay. Laid back. Thank you, Constance Pegasus, for $9.99. Chat is seriously busy tonight. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Good conversations, good back and forth, healthy back and forth. We don't all have to agree all the time on everything. That's part of being human. until I don't know what happened as soon as I said that. I miss the disgusting parts. But oh yeah. No, dog. Nah, dog. You don't get away with that shit here. And like I said, the link's been there, the number's been there. Like it's easy. See now I'm now I start talking shit because at least homeboy came on here and wanted to have a real life conversation. And at this point, now to me, you're just becoming a keyboard warrior. So I don't know how long Jena puts you in a timeout, but once the timeout's up, I mean you can put up or shut up, and I'll hang out here for a few minutes to see. But no, we don't play that shit here. Homosexuality is not evil, and you just like Jena said, you don't get to spread that bullshit here. Take that shit back to your church or whatever. But if you want to have an honest conversation, I'll wait. But stop hiding behind that keyboard. I'm right here. I'm right here. Yep.
Other types of areas of interest. So, what are we doing to expand our reach? How do we get more people to be interested in this kind of thing? That's a question that we need to face, just like churches. They're always saying, how do we do more outreach? How do we reach more people? Usually wrapped up in how do we reach more young people? Maybe you don't. Maybe you stop trying to reach young people. Maybe I do listen to my kids that even though they watch YouTube and have Facebook accounts, it's really for old people and they just have it because dad's on there and they want to laugh at my dad jokes that I post. I don't know what it is, but there are literally billions of people using YouTube. And so there's a lot of people out there. And if the goal is to just provide Christian content for theologically interested and apologetic interested Christians out there, that's a perfectly fine thing to do. There's no problem with that. You should have that because it is making an impact on their spiritual lives, and that's good. And if that's all that you do, that's still a good thing. But if the goal is also to reach more people and to win the lost to Christ, which should be the goal of all of ours, we should be doing more evangelism. But how do you engage in evangelism that actually puts your evangelistic content in front of more people? What are we doing or not doing that is keeping this a very small pool and basically all vying for the same amount of eyeballs that are going to be interested in any of this? How do we expand that pool for all of us? And mainly for Jesus so that we can reach the lost.
Oh, man. We got to go back to the old school on this one. Native atheist said, let's drink. Yeah. Thank you, Data Atheist, for the $10 reminder to drink responsibly. Just do responsibly. Motherfuckers.
Because if we're going to be producing this kind of content and dedicating any portion of time to it, it needs to be fruitful. So how can we increase that footprint? How can we be more fruitful? Those are things that we need to ask ourselves, because again, not a lot of people are interested in this.
Oh, you know what? Carletha, hold on. I'm gonna press play on this video because I gotta get a little bit. I'm gonna do a full refill, a little bit of refill, and just because Carletha misses the shot song, we're gonna do the damn thing. So I'll play the video for a minute. I'll be right back.
This anyway, but the same questions that churches grapple with: how do we reach more people? How do we impact more people? How do we win lost souls to Christ? Christian content creators need to be asking ourselves the same question, or otherwise infotainment just becomes entertainment and we're just doing it for our own sake. And I don't know that, like I said, there's nothing wrong with that if you're trying to help augment people's church lives. That's fine. But there's a lot of people producing content for the same people. You know, the same sets of people that watch our channel may watch other channels. And yeah, there's some people who watch ours that don't watch others, and don't watch ours but do watch others. But still, it's a very small pool. So we need to make that pool larger. We need to get more people involved into religious conversations. So that's something for us as content creators to think about. And it's something for all of you who are consumers of this content. What are we not doing? We want to hear from you. Put it in the comments. Whether you're Christian or not a Christian, because obviously all of you atheists love this channel because we're the channel that loves atheists. So put it in the comments. What do you want to see more of that we don't do? Right? Because apparently all that we're doing is entertaining a very, very small sliver of millennials. So, you know, and then of course this kind of data doesn't track outside of millennials, but still, if our goal is we want to not just grow our channels for our own egos, but we really do want to reach the lost. We really do want to get, even if you're not interested in ever becoming a Christian, if you're a non-Christian and you're watching this channel, you're obviously interested in the discussion about religion. So how do we get more people, even that are like you, interested in these kind of bigger worldview discussions? Leave it in the comments. Let us know. And I appreciate you watching this video. We will see.
Fuck you. And this is gonna feed right into the madness. Is everybody ready? So Carletha, the shot song is back, and we do have another super chat, and I do have to press pause for this one. Grumpy old Cuss for $10. Oz, thanks for, Oz. I said Oz. Oz, thanks for being around. I appreciate you. No blowing smoke. And Grumps, you and I know each other well enough. Neither of us blow smoke unless we're smoking, and we ain't smoking right now. Well, I'm not smoking right now. But I love you and I appreciate you, and thank you for every fucking thing you do. And thank you for the $10, the support, and God damn it. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Nobody else on Atheist YouTube but does what the fuck we do. Fuck it. We atheist our way. Atheist your way. Do what you do, motherfuckers. And thank you again, Grumps. Seriously, for real. Love you and appreciate you. Doorknob head. I don't know what 2 out of 10 is for, but I thank you for 2. I thank you for 2. 2 makes sense. And I'm gonna wrap it up. This went way longer than I thought it actually would be because I actually enjoyed that conversation. I appreciate it. I wish the other dude would have jumped in. Whatever the fuck his name was, I can't remember. I'm terrible with names. Terrible. Baptist Joshua. Baptist Joshua, if you see this later, please email us. It's tanggang@gmail.com. I would love to have a one-on-one conversation. And you got real like real time, real life example and experience of how I approach these conversations. So it'll be all good. And unless you if you do turn into a bigoted, hateful asshole, I will also be the first one to tell you that I turn into a dog. I turn into a pit bull, and I don't let go. I don't let go. But as long as you're cool, I'm cool. And before I sign off, and I'm doing this because I know she's here. And I started this. Yeah, sorry. Jena has a propensity to apologize for things that she should never apologize for. But I just want to say, and people will know later, but I just want to say this publicly, babe. I'm proud of you, and I'm excited for you. And you're a boss. You're a boss, and it's pretty fucking badass to say that you're my girlfriend. It's pretty fucking badass to be able to say that, and you're amazing, and I hope you know that, and in the weeks and months ahead, just know that you're amazing, you're wonderful, and there's a whole bunch of fucking people that care about you and love you, and you got a whole fucking family and support system around you, and I love you, and I love y'all. Peace out.
Yeah. This is for all you non-philosophizing black sheep, unwelcome, pushed to the side motherfuckers like me.
Fuck what they say. Tang gang. Atheist your way. Yeah. Fuck what they say. Tang gang. Atheist your way. Ha ha ha. Let's get down to business. These bitches got glitches. And you thought you'd dismiss us? Nah. Now I'm laughing in stitches. See, the problem be, it'll be a tragic travesty to come after me. So just know this is how we get down. Respect that shit like a pronoun, bitch. Yeah. Fuck what they say. Tang gang. Atheist your way. Yeah. And fuck what they say. Tang gang. Atheist your way. Yeah. Fuck what they say. Tang gang. Atheist your way. Yeah, fuck what they say. Tang gang, atheist your way.